Hello, Lee. It's nice to see you again, and we've invited you today to talk to us about your data science internship that you've done with the support of ARC Northwest Coast. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi George, thanks for this. So my name's Lee Hughes. I'm a speech and language therapist with East Lancs Hospital Trust in the Neuro Rehab Service. I work at Rakehead Rehabilitation Centre, which is based at Burnley General Hospital, and in the community for the Community Neuro Rehab team.
Thank you. And what attracted you to apply for this internship with the ARC?
So in our service, we're lucky enough to have a Professor of Neuro Rehab, Louise Connell, and Louise drew our attention to the internship, and I have been looking for a service development research project that would fit in with my part-time work, because I work part-time for the trust, and this seemed ideal, and it would help us look at our service and how we could improve our service.
Okay, thank you. And could you tell us a bit about the project itself? What is it that you're actually looking at?
Absolutely. So ultimately, we are looking at our service and the therapy that we provide to see that it is fair and equitable. So the data that we're looking at is routinely collected data. That's clinical data that we already have from other meetings and outcomes and patient notes, but it's all been sort of routinely collected, anonymized on another database. And we felt that we weren't using that data really effectively, and that there would be lots of sort of hidden gems in that data that we could use to look at, compare our services with other services and improve our service. So it was a project to really harness that data, analyse it and see what we could get from it to improve our service.
Okay, and what kind of support have you received from the ARC whilst you've been doing the internship?
I've had supreme support from Rebecca Wilson, who has been my sort of support mentor, data supervisor. She's been extremely patient with me. So we've had weekly Zoom meetings pretty much, or at least fortnightly, to look at the data, give me ideas on what else to explore, to analyse the charts, the graphs, support me with Excel and the statistical analysis for the charts, because I was quite new to that. And then in the beginning, I've had a lot of support from Louise Connell and Suzanne Ackerley at UCLan in terms of the broader picture, thinking about what questions you might be exploring, how to organise a project like this.
Excellent. So it sounds like you've had a good level of support from the ARC and from the academics at UCLan as well. So that's good to hear. So what are the plans for the future for this project? What are you going to do with this data?
Well, I'm excited to find out this week that we've actually just been accepted for a poster submission to a British Society of Rehab Medicine conference, the Society of Research into Rehabilitation, in November. So we've got a poster presentation to get cracking with for that. So that's good to sort of promote the project, promote the service, and encourage other people like myself, clinicians like myself, to have a go with a research project. But also more importantly for the service, we're going to be looking at the outcomes. So I have looked at, for instance, the data that we've got. I had to spend a lot of time cleaning that data, months and months, to be honest. So a lot of the data was incomplete, or the sort of like the wrong data was collected. So I'm going to be able to say we're already talking about it, but because it's been, you know, an ongoing project where I can feed back on a regular basis to the team, but to say, you know, I think we need to change what we're looking at, change what we're collecting, influence what needs to be collected in the future, work towards what the targets are in neuro rehab and collect towards those. And a lot of the data that I'm looking at will hopefully be evidence to help with workforce planning. So looking at, for instance, you know, therapy resources, physios, OTs, speech and language therapists for neuro rehab services across the region. What else? I don't know whether you're going to ask me a question later, but I was just going to say about how, you know, how an impact for me has been my confidence in carrying something like this out, and how I can, you know, encourage other colleagues to do it as well, to apply. You know, so having something like the ARC there has really sort of structured it for me, and you know, I would really encourage anybody to have a go and apply.
That's good to hear from our perspective, from the capacity building work that we do, that you can go back and almost be an ambassador for the ARC to say, these internships, they're really useful, they've helped me develop, but they've also helped me look at data in different ways to help influence patient outcomes and workforce planning as well. So I think there's been some good outcomes from the work. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us? I know the ARC is very interested in trying to improve the health inequalities, and I think that's hopefully you know, we haven't finished charting all the data and analysing it, but definitely that's one of the outcomes of this project. I think will be us to be able to, and it's something that we haven't looked at in our service. So we'll be looking at describing demographics. So we haven't really described our population, so we can describe our population. We can do comparisons with, you know, other population demographics, and look and say, well, is our service, like I said before, fair and equitable? So an example is, what percentage of our neuro rehab patients match the national targets that are set in stroke services for the amount of daily therapy achieved? So, you know, are the neuro rehab services matching those stroke services that have had a lot of development and input in? And I think I can say in some of the areas we are, and in some of the areas we aren't. Some of that's due to incomplete data, but it is helpful to know where the gaps are, and then how we can work to sort of fill those gaps. Excellent. So in many ways, it's going to help shape how the service is delivered in the future, and where there's room for improvement, and where you're meeting standards, and where you need to do a bit more work.
Yeah. So I think it's something that we'll just basically carry on. So the ARC and this project has started it, but it showed us how we can do it and how we can then embed it into our sort of service on a sort of like 6 monthly or annual basis.
Lovely. Thank you for your time today, Lee. I really appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us, and to the ARC members that are watching this today to find out about your project. And thank you, obviously, for banging the drum, beating the drum for ARC internships and saying how good they are. We really appreciate that.